If you are single and you desire to be married, there is a possibility that you are missing out on the person that God has for you or tried to present to you because they weren't perfect. A lot of times, especially as women, we have this ideal in our head of how things should be. And if you are a visionary, you can imagine. And a lot of times we pray for God to send us someone, and we have this ideal in our head of how that person should be. But what if the person that God has for you does not match the vision in your head? We have these expectations that are unrealistic of how somebody should be. They should look like this. They should make this amount of money. They should have this credit score. They should not have kids. They should not have been married. Whatever these preferential things are, what if that's not God's will? And that's something that you have to consider, because a lot of times, especially in the church, we could be so rigid and we don't have grace for people and their imperfections when we want people to accept our imperfections. And that's not realistic, because no one is coming perfect. So we have to be able to use discernment and really consider that person's substance, and does it align with your destiny, your purpose? That's the most important. What is the core of who they are? Are they kind? Are they willing to make sacrifices to be with you? And all of those things that are very important, very intangible. A lot of times we are fixated on the tangible things that are subjective, like things that can change. So you want to make sure that you're not missing out on somebody that God has for you because of this rigid mindset, this overly religious mindset, when even God himself is not super rigid. He is a God of redemption. He's a God of grace. And we have to learn how to have grace for people, because we want grace for our things and our issues and our imperfections. So we have to learn how to extend grace, especially as a woman. We think that a man should have this amount of money. They need to have this perfect credit score. They don't need to have kids. They don't need to have this. And even men have those expectations of women. And it's not realistic, because the world that we live in, people have things going on with them. You just want to align yourself with someone who has core values, who has morals, who have substance. That's what counts, because all of the other things that you might be worried about, that you feel like, oh, I can't deal with this, that can actually change. Those are things that can change. So we have to sometimes just kind of like go through the process, walk it out, and extend a little grace, because you might be missing out on someone that God has for you, and that could be good for you.